What's good, YouTube? I'm back again today with another revisit deck profile, and I'm revisiting a deck that I profiled 2 months ago, and I didn't have a lot of experience with the deck, but I really enjoyed using the deck. And about 2 months have passed now, and I've gotten a lot more experience with the deck. I know the plays a little better, and I've now made the deck a lot better. And well, the deck profile that I first put out, the deck wasn't terrible. All right, it was pretty bad, and I got some shit for it on YouTube. And this Battlin Boxers, which is the deck we'll be talking about, has gotten quite a bit of attention recently. I've been planning this for weeks now to redo this, but just as more or less the day after Imkul 40 and Galactic God did a challenge, whoever made their better Battlin Boxer decks, and Doug Zeff, I can't remember his name, I think that's it, talked about this deck in an article on TCG Player, and I might, if I remember to, I'll try to talk about what I think of some of the stuff they said. But let's talk about my stuff first. So, revisit. So, sticking, for the most part, the monster lineup is the same. Starting in the 3 switch hitter, 3 glass jaw, 3 headgear, 3 counter punch. Pretty much going to be found in almost all Battlin Boxer decks. And as far as the name change goes, I'm not completely used to calling them Battlin Boxers. Sometimes I'll go back to calling them Burning Knucklers. And I just switch between the two names. I really don't care. Some people don't like the name change. I don't care. The deck functions the same. So yeah. The change that I did make, though, is I did add spars. When the deck profile I first did, I kind of talked shit about spar. And after I did some testing with it, I was running the one Thrasher. And then I realized Thrasher, even though spar, it's an amazing card early game. Once you get out of the early game, the card becomes very subpar. And Thrasher is kind of in the same boat where it's only good early game, and if you get later in game, it's very subpar, but at least you can normal summon Spar. So yeah, that's more or less the monsters. It's a very small monster lineup. Technically, I'm only running 11 real monsters, as counter punches don't really do anything. You can't really exceed with them. At best, you can just set it and have it be a meat shield to take an attack. But mostly it's there for that 1,000 extra punch. Oh yeah, let's talk about counter punch really quick. Someone gave me some shit for running 3. And I have to say F you, dude. If you tried to run Black Wings with any less than 3 Colute, if you tried to run War Gods with anything less than the one that doubled the monster's attack, if you tried to run fucking Light Sworns with less than 3 Honest a few years ago, people would fucking laugh at you. Counterpunch is an amazing card, especially in a meta right now where there are giant monsters everywhere. Elemental Dragons, their monsters are huge. Dragosac Big Eye are huge. Priestess is huge. Abyss Gaios is huge. Megalo is huge. And your guys are wieners. Really, 15 attack, 1,000 attack, 12 attack, and the boss monster, the deck that you summon constantly every game, is only 22 attack before it loses its materials. And I'm not too scared of dead drawing it, because Headgear can put it in the grave. Foolish can put it in the grave. And yes, there have been games where I've drawn multiples, and that sucks ass. But you know what? Game 2, if I'm playing in a tournament or something, I'll side out the stuff I don't need. I'll side it out in matchups I don't need it in. So the spells, everything's the same except for I took out an MST and put in a Lance. If you're going to run Battlin Boxers, Burning Knucklers, where you just want to keep putting Lead Yolk on the field and concentrate more on Lead Yolk and not use the terrible Barians build, you want to run at least 2 Dress, or 2 Lance, or 2 Safe Zone at the very least. You need to protect this guy. And this guy doesn't give 2 fucks about anything. Well, most things. Although Compulse fucks him up, Deep Prison fucks him up, Spellbook of Fate fucks him up, Big Eye fucks him up. Oh my god, that's why I run 2 dress, because I am scared as hell of Big Eye. And now let's bring this up. Doug Zeff said that this deck destroys dragons, and I have to disagree with that completely. Dragons are a very awkward matchup for this, because dragons go stupid plus, and they poop Big Eye out like it's no fucking problem. And you can normally only summon one of this guy, and if they get a hold of this guy, and you're in a pretty shitty situation, you're in even worse situation. I'm saying this as someone who's running tons of protection against Big Eye. A good E-Dragon player will make it so they can put 2 Big Eyes on the field without even trying. So you have to be very smart when playing against E-Dragons. Although, if you're playing against a bad E-Dragon player, or if you force them to use up their resources so they can't make Big Eyes, or you get rid of all their Big Eyes, it's really easy. But saying that this has a good matchup against E-Dragons is like saying E-Dragons has a good matchup against Evil Swarms. Because once you take Ophion out of the equation, E-Dragons destroy Evil Swarms. But yeah, that's my little rant. But yeah, I'm gonna actually link to the article, because the article is really nice. And the build he was playing Blaster, Burning Knucklers. That ran Blaster, and to each his own. It's not my playstyle. It would have been a few months ago, but I'm just really liking traps now, even though everyone hates traps as format. I think that that's what this deck wants to do, is just play very controlled. But yeah, speaking of traps, I made some changes to the trap lineup. I think I was running 13, now I'm running 14. I put Judgment in, and I put Starlight Road in. This is just extra protection. For Starlight Road, I was tired of my opponent having the heavy, and there was nothing I could do about it, and they were able to get the heavy off, and that's why I lost. Starlight Road is just really good protection. Plus, Black Rose is still a thing. Dark Hole is still a thing, even if some decks aren't playing it. And there's still other things that'll mess you up, like Torrential Mirror Force. Even though you don't fear those, there are times you do have to fear them. And Judgment, Judgment is awesome in this deck, because once you get a Lead Yoke on the field, you have more or less constant field presence unless your opponent pulls off some stupid stuff. And Judgment is just protection that a lot of things can't protect them, like you don't have the Lance, so this helps just protect him. And also, at one point I was running 1 Compulse, 2 Call of the Haunted, and I put the Call of the Haunted down to 1, because there were literally games where I'd draw 2 Call of the Haunteds, no monsters, and I would just prefer to have Compulse, which Compulse is an amazing card in this format, as it's chainable, and it hurts a lot of decks. Like Evil Swarms, if they don't have the Pandemic, it's gonna mess them up. It's gonna mess up dragons because it gets their Xyz out of the way and forces them to burn their resources. And it just it's chainable, which is nice. Some of the cards I took out, I already explained. Thrasher, I kind of overrated Thrasher and I kind of underrated Spar, but they both have their problems. It's just that Spar is the lesser of 2 evils. I took out the Thunder Kings. Dead serious. The day after I took the Thunder Kings out, just Silent Enigma made a video. It's like, nobody's playing Thunder Kings anymore, and you don't really need them or something. I forget what he said. And then, like, a few days later, Great Falls, Montana was like, oh, run Thunder Kings, that's good. This deck just wants to put a Lead Yoke on the field as quickly as possible, and Thunder King wasn't really helping with that. Yeah, it was helping slow my opponent down. But really, most decks out there, or this deck doesn't care about most decks out there. Really, the only things that this deck fears are really Prophecies, Goody Dragon players, and Constellars. Outside of that, this deck doesn't care what you're running. It will just make you burn all your resources. And let's talk about this for a second, because I didn't cover it in my when I did the last deck profile. Battlin Boxers have more or less three boss monsters to choose from. You have Battlin Boxer Lead Yolk, which is just one of my favorite XCs of all time. You have number 105, Battlin Boxer Star. It is a pretty kind of, I don't want to say it's situational, but it's something that you run because it will win you a game. Because I know the moment I'll take it out, I'm going to lose the game. And then you have the Chaos version of 105, Comet. And this guy has two amazing effects. Don't get me wrong, this card is awesome. But the problem is, it's not that good in Battlin Boxers. Because there are, of course, two ways to summon it. You can use 4 level 5s, which is just crazy. You're not going to want to do that. And you're going to want to summon it the other way, too, which is to summon number 105 and use one of these rank up Bury and Force cards to summon him. And this guy, if he destroys an opponent's monster by battle, half of that monster's attack gets inflicted to your opponent. And if this guy has 105 as an overlay target, you can detach a material and destroy an opponent. It's a ring of destruction. Destroy an opponent's monster, and they take damage equal to that monster's attack. So very good card. So why do I hate this card? Well, I hate it in Battlin Boxers, and here's the simple reason why. You neg yourself too hard trying to summon it. Because let's say the most optimal way you're going to summon it, let's just say with this build, if we throw in rank up, you summon Switch Hitter, use special, use its effect, special, another thing, then you summon Spar or use Call of the Haunted to bring back another one. You overlay for 3, summon this guy, then you use rank up, summon this guy. So you're using anywhere between 3 to 4 cards to summon one monster, when I feel it's just better to keep recycling Lead Yolk and just run a bunch of traps. And one thing that Imco40 completely forgot in his deck was the Vol Chain. You need to run the Vol Chain in this deck. Well, you don't need to. It's not going to. It just sets up your entire deck if you're able to resolve the Vol Chain the correct way. And Galactic God kind of brought up this play. And it's if you have Switch It or Headgear and Spar, you normal summon Headgear, use its effect, special Spar. He said use Headgear, send a Counterpunch, then special Spar overlay into Lead Yolk. The better play to do first turn, well, it of course depends on your matchup, but the play I find myself doing more often is you normal summon Headgear, use its effect, send Switch Hitter, overlay for Spar, make Lavalval Chain, use its effect, send Glass Shot of the Grave, Glass Shot's effect, add Switch Hitter back to your hand. So with this play, you didn't take the neg 1 from overlaying to an Xyz monster because Glass Jaw gives you your plus back, and you now have a live Switch Hitter play for next turn, allowing you to revive Glassjaw, going into Lead Yolk, and you've started your pseudo loop. And if you don't know what the pseudo loop is, go look it up, because everybody should know about it by now. And I'm almost done talking. I just want to tell a stupid story. I took out Shockmaster when I was testing this deck, and I ran into like a Burn or Final Countdown deck, and it's like, I didn't have Shockmaster, and that's why I lost. So, right after that, I put it back in. So, that's more or less the deck profile. I didn't really talk about the extra deck, but what you make is Cowboy, Lavalval Chain, Lead Yolk, and that's about it. Thank you for watching. I hope you like the deck more than the crappy one that I put up 2 months ago. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.